Welcome to Certain Point of View, your first step into a much nerdier world. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on iTunes. Just go to certainpov.com. Thanks. And now your hosts, Ben Milton and Addy Thomas.
Hey, Nerf Herders, I'm Addy Thomas.
I am Ben Milton.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Certain Point of View. Don't forget that we now have Certain Point of View split up into 3 separate feeds. We have Certain Point of View, the news, and the show featuring me and Ben talking about all sorts of nerdy stuff. But then we also have Another Pass, where Case often gets to just re-explore a movie, retweak it a little bit, whether it's good or bad. And then, of course, there is the Scruffy Nerf Herders, which is our Star Wars RPG D20 game, where we have our, less than heroic group of guys, of rebels.
Bumbling idiots.
Yeah, well, sometimes we're bumbling, sometimes the rolls are on point, but, you know.
Yeah, not often, though.
It's been fun either way.
It has been.
Be sure to check that out. Whichever ones that you'd like to listen to, now we have them split out in separate feeds so you can enjoy the episodes that you want to listen to. All of that you can find on our website, certainpov.com. Ben, what's been happening with you lately?
So, for the last month, we've had these abandoned kittens in our house. Like, for some reason, my family takes in strays. From children to cats to whatever we can find. Like, Jenny just has like this huge heart for kittens. So one night, windows were open. It was still warm out. And we heard a kitten crying. And it was raining like the devil. And, of course, there's 3 tiny baby kittens. Their mom had abandoned them. So we took them in. So we've had these stupid cats in our house for the last month. And today we finally got rid of the last cat and gave her to her new home. So they all got new forever homes, and everybody loves them, and they're doing really well. And I'm so relieved to be finally rid of these cats. I'm allergic.
Right.
First of all, I'm allergic to cats. So this has been a sacrifice for me.
Yeah.
And it has not been fun. Like I've been like you. I've been stuffy for a month.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to breathe. It sucks. I don't know how you live.
Yeah. That's how I've always had to live. I noticed that you guys keep on using the term forever home, and that sounds like the worst excuse for like sending them to the meat factory.
You know, let's not talk about exactly what the forever home is. We're going to keep this on a positive note.
But you guys got a new shipment of glue for some arts and crafts.
That's right. New food for the dragon.
Right. I recently finally took some time to catch up on some of the recent DC animated movies. Some of them good, some of them bad. I really enjoyed Justice League Dark. And actually we might even talk about that a little bit in today's episode. But that was cool. I started watching Justice League Teen Titans Judas Contract. I haven't gotten through that, but just because I just haven't had time to finish it. But that was good. The Batman and Harley one, I didn't think was good.
Yeah.
And it's sad because it also it's Bruce Timm who's also producing and directing it, but without Paul Dini, who was a big part of writing a lot of the Batman animated series. But it was sort of a comedy, but was like at times was funny, and sometimes the jokes were like you could see that the jokes were funny, but the execution was just kind of off. It was sort of inconsistent. There were moments here and there. It seemed like in concept, like I could see that if you wrote it down, it seemed right, but something in terms of the pace, somewhere within the pacing and the voicing, somewhere it just kind of fell a little flat.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I will not run out and go see that then.
Yeah. Well, we'll go ahead and get into the news for today. We've got plenty about some movies getting greenlit, some stuff getting returning to the screen as well, and then of course some Star Wars news. Considering that Star Wars trailer is coming out, as we're recording tonight on Monday Night Football, we're having the Star Wars trailer come out. But there's some interesting news about it, and we're going to discuss whether or not
it's going to be a big debate.
We're going to watch this trailer or not. So, because I'm torn, and I know Ben is torn. So, but let's go ahead and get into it. Now, I'm not sure if this is technically considered a tribute or a roast, but Brett Ratner, first of all, that's a joke right there, will direct a biopic about Hugh Hefner starring...
You had so much hate for Brett Ratner.
Can you tell me a good movie he's done?
I can't think of a movie he's done. off the top of my head, to be honest. I know the name, but like for whatever reason, I'm drawing a blank on what he's been attached to.
Well, X3 was one of them.
Okay.
He did the Rush Hour movies, which are fine for what they are, but they're not great movies by any means.
Good buddy cop movie.
Yeah, they're all right.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'd never call them one of the greatest movies of all time. And
well, no, but I mean, that's a short list.
Yeah, that's fair.
A lot of movies that don't get made.
All right, that's fair. Well, either way, he's making a biopic about Hugh Hefner starring Jared Leto.
Oh, I hope Jared Leto stays in Joker character. I think that would be fun. That's an interesting choice.
Who wants a biopic of Hugh Hefner, though? Is there anybody who's really looking for that movie?
Oh, I think there's a lot of people who really admire Hugh Hefner.
I'm fine with people admiring him. Like that.
He led a really kind of amazing life. Now, you may disagree.
With his values, yeah.
Yeah, which is fine. Whatever. Don't go see the movie then. But
right.
Really interesting cat. I mean, he really led kind of a crazy lifestyle.
Yeah.
And a crazy he changed society, he changed culture.
Yeah, that is true. He was very influential. I won't debate that.
And I loved his articles.
Yeah. It just seems like I was watching Nerdist talk about it, and I was also seeing Twitter sort of going like, this is the one movie that nobody really has asked for from a director and an actor that people don't really care for.
It is, yeah. It is a sort of a trifecta of shit.
Yeah.
But it might work.
It might you never know.
I mean, you just put enough crap into a bag and it might turn into gold. I think that's kind of what they're going for. Like, I don't see... Like, I mean, we're in that kind of political correct age now where...
That story might have resonate in some ways.
Well, it might resonate in some ways, but it also is also going to scare a lot of high profile people away from it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, I don't want to be attached to anything that would glorify Playboy in any way. Yeah. Which, okay, that's cool.
Yeah. No, that's an interesting perspective about the politically correct climate. I didn't really think about it that way. So
yeah. I'm surprised that it's getting made. I'm surprised that it got greenlit. Did Harvey Weinstein greenlight it?
So soon, way too soon.
I'm just asking.
Oh, so Paramount Pictures has secured the rights to a live-action Sonic the Hedgehog movie. And currently former director for the first Deadpool movie, Tim Miller is attached to produce it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, J. Mike's going to be excited.
I guess, but who, like, even among Sonic fans, I don't have any real love for the Sonic franchise. Like, I enjoyed
playing. It was a fun game.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
What's the story that, I guess there was a TV show. My son really likes the TV show.
Yeah.
He was into it.
But see, I can see, this seems like something that really is great for animation. I don't see Sonic working in live action.
Is it going to be a live action?
Yeah, this is a live action movie.
How do you do a live action Sonic?
Well, I mean CG for Sonic, but then everybody else would be like human, I guess.
I guess that doesn't make a lot of sense. We'll have to say. Okay.
Well, to me, it's sort of like the same deal as the problems with like the live action Mario movies.
SpongeBob.
Well, SpongeBob's a little different when they do like those moments where it's reality and animation. Like that's sort of what you don't like that.
Jenny and I watched that movie.
Well, that one in particular was bad, but in general, when SpongeBob does some like live action
on the TV show, but I'm talking about the movie, like where they mixed it, and it was
yeah.
No.
See, I didn't see that was the problem. It just seemed like not funny at that point.
There was a lot of that too,
but I don't think it was because it was live action.
No, but it was just weird, like they looked weird, and you're like, this is not. That's not SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Like why does everybody look weird? It didn't work for me.
Yeah.
I might have not been in a proper state of mind.
Yeah, no, I know.
So take that with a grain of salt, but that's kind of how I feel. I
think SpongeBob may have gotten a little too real for you in that moment.
Couldn't follow the plot of that movie. I'm not gonna lie. But I don't think that Sonic is really like that's not a movie that. Who knows? But I mean, like, who would have thought I would want to see a Ninjago movie?
Absolutely. And I'm actually like, I'd be fine with a Sonic movie. Like, I'd totally watch an animated one or 3D.
The live action is weird.
Yeah, the live action thing is the thing that turns me off because like it's the same deal with like sort of those Mario movies back in the day where like I'm all for making Mario stuff. It's just keep them in animation. Like, some things work better. Like, I was thinking about this with Voltron. Like, I wonder if what about a live action Voltron? Would that work? And I thought about it. It's like it could, but there's certain things that just works well with sort of the way animation, but the way that animation sort of like begins sort of for you, and you have to construct the rest of a reality in your mind in the way that like looking at it sort of on a spectrum of creativity. Like, you know, you have books and like radio plays and all sorts of things like that, and then you have live action movies, and each time you take a little bit more out of your imagination and let the artist create more of it, you have less interaction with that sort of art. It's not something that's not a bad thing, but I think for some things they're better suited for, you know, letting you complete the picture in your head than having someone else try to do it and sometimes looking pretty bad.
I will say that the counter argument to that specifically is Star Blazers. There was that was an anime series when I was growing up, similar to Voltron, a little earlier before Voltron, about this basically the same idea. I got to save Earth, fly across the galaxy to do it, and this old battleship retrofitted to become a space battlecruiser. Okay, and they relaunched it as a live action film called Battleship Yamamoto in Japan. And it's fantastic. It's really, really good. Like, it totally worked for me. Like, they captured the anime feeling and all of the great things about the animation in this film. Now, if you don't like subtitles, maybe it's not the film for you. Right. But I love this. So it can be done.
Yeah.
I don't know that Sonic is the right property to do that with. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess like going
Sonic
on
is so weird.
Yeah, I guess going on the counter side of that, because like I also love Pacific Rim, and how different is that really from, you know, when I was just talking about Voltron, or
right.
You know, Power Rangers doesn't really work as well for me, but yeah, like they can make it look, yeah, and then on the same but
the thing is, so the two examples that we use Battleship Yamamoto and Pacific Rim,
yeah,
like those are two very serious things.
Yeah.
Whereas Power Rangers and Sonic are more on the silly side. And I think that is the question that I have.
Well,
whether or not this works.
Well, let's also go, I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy. You have an anthropomorphic talking tree that says one word and a raccoon.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm just a little too close-minded to the possibility. Like, I guess I need to see concept of what live action Sonic would look like to really see, like, I wonder if this would work, you know?
Yeah, I'm not feeling it. But Tim Miller's a brilliant director, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I can't believe we just spent like 10 minutes arguing about this.
I know. I thought it was going to be like 2 lines out of this story, and then we were out.
All right, let's go.
Well, and while we're still waiting for the release of the new Star Wars Battlefront 2, Battlefront 2...
Who's waiting for this?
Battlefront 2?
I'm not waiting for this.
Oh, Battlefront 2 is getting a lot of hype right now. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I see the commercials.
Yeah,
everywhere I go.
There's been a lot, but there's been also a lot of social media hype, too.
A lot of social media money being spent.
There has been, but there's been a lot of, like, some positive early reviews. The open beta is out right now.
Yeah.
And I've heard good things. I'm avoiding it because I don't want to get sucked in. I'm still expecting that I'm going to buy it, but I'm trying to avoid pre-ordering and getting sucked into the hype of it. I want to at least wait to see that the game has some legs before I jump on board, if I jump on. Because, you know, and I'll get back to the story itself, you know, Overwatch, I totally love. I play it every now and then, but I don't play it regularly enough that, like, I look back on it, like, should I have really spent that money on it back then, you know? Should I have waited for a sale or something and then jumped onto it? And that's sort of my thoughts with Battlefront 2. But right now, though, and this is just sort of a testament to how amazing the original Battlefront 2, the 2005 version of it is, Disney has actually restored multiplayer capabilities for that one, the 2005 version. So now on Steam, you can totally go in for the old school Battlefront 2 and play it again, and play on multiplayer.
All right.
I know that's totally not your world.
Yeah, I don't like first person shooters.
Yeah.
Even if they are skinned with Star Wars. So the game looks amazing. The new Battlefront looks amazing. I love watching the clips of it.
Yeah.
Would I play it? Not in a million years.
Probably not. Yeah. Well, I think what is interesting is sometimes there's certain games, though, that have this certain, like, spot in sort of in the memory of certain gamers. I think Battlefront 2 and the original StarCraft have that place, because it's funny because you're seeing right now Blizzard has been trying to make StarCraft 2 catch on, but they really haven't been able to make it catch on with the esports community. They remastered the original the original StarCraft because esports was still going strong with the original.
Yeah, if it ain't broke.
So James Gunn is leading the charge against motion interpolation, and several directors have joined the cause, including Matt Reeves, Edgar Wright, Rian Johnson, Peyton Reed, and Chris McQuarrie. Now, so most movies are still shot at 24 frames per second these days, and when motion smoothing is enabled on a TV, it causes things to look unnatural, or for some people, maybe too natural. Sometimes that great cinematography that filmmakers worked on to craft, well, it starts to look low budget or look like a TV soap opera, and the action looks a little too real. You've seen the setting, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a setting that I hate.
I turn it off.
Yeah. But apparently, here's the thing, it's on by default for a lot of TVs. So a lot of people who just don't know any better.
Just, this just looks like crap, and they just live with it. Or they don't even know.
Or they even like it, and they shouldn't like it.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you this. So, because this is an interesting thing, I think from the perspective of for that motion technology is great for sports.
Yep.
Because you want to see every little bit of action, whether you're watching a fight, whether you're watching hockey, whether you're watching football, you want to track the ball, whatever. That works great for that type of TV. But if a director takes the time to craft a movie with 24 frames per second, with film, with all the, everything that goes into cinematography, and then that feature is on by default and people are watching it that way and think it's good, that's kind of an issue, right?
Okay, but then by that standard, should we be able to watch these films in our homes? Shouldn't we have to go see them in a theater where they're intended to be viewed?
Right. All right.
You can
extrapolate that out.
Yeah. Look, it's art and it's entertainment. Does the end user enjoy it?
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Let's just put it there. Personally, I try to keep it as close to what the directors intended. Yeah. I'm more of a purist. I'm not a purist.
Yeah.
I'm not a purist because I don't have Dolby 9-point surround sound in my basement and stuff like that anymore.
I guess the thing that annoys me is I know people who are movie fans, but they
don't know about this.
Right, but they like having that feature on, and they're like, "Oh my god, that looks so amazing." Or I know someone who actually intentionally bought the full screen version of movies, even though a movie is shot with 16:9, but they don't like the look of 16:9. Of having bars. Yeah, exactly. When I'm like, but that.
Then you get to see the whole picture. Yeah, you're missing a third of the picture, you right? dummy.
you're missing this is what the director how someone took the shot, and you're actually I remember even showing pictures with Star Wars where a good portion of I think it's in A New Hope when Vader is talking to the officer when they're walking down the hall of the Tantive after he's broken in. And they're talking about the Senate won't like it and all that kind of stuff like that. And that officer is mostly cut off in the full screen version, but he can't. The guy couldn't. He's a huge Star Wars fan, waited out in line for Star Wars movies type of fan, but couldn't deal with the black bars.
To each their own, man. To each their own.
I just feel like that's wrong. I'm sorry. There's certain lines that can't be crossed, and the full screen widescreen one is.
I'm not a full screen fan. I don't understand that, but
if I know that someone shot it some way, I want to get as close to that.
I'm with you.
Well, NBC's Constantine didn't even get to last a full season, but Matt Ryan's depiction of DC's Demon Hunter has had a cult following that's been loved on thanks to an appearance on Arrow and on the animated Justice League Dark movie. Matt Ryan, fortunately, will be returning to the role in live action on Season 3 of Legends of Tomorrow and in animation through a web series on CW Seed.
I watched the clip for the CW Seed show. Looks great.
Right?
It looks great.
And there was swearing. It was violent. It was
everything I want out of Constantine.
Well, and that's necessary for that character. It wasn't gratuitous. It was right for someone who's in a cult, dealing with occult type of stories, dealing with demons, dealing with ancient sort of stuff. It was absolutely right. It fit the character. character, I'm
Yeah,
totally on board.
This is a character that makes sense in animation.
Yeah.
It just does not make sense live action.
Or it's really
NBC.
hard. Yes, I could see it working on the big screen. I don't think on TV. I think on TV it's hard to do justice to what he's able to do.
I think it would have to be on like a Showtime, HBO.
Right, with movie budget, basically.
Yeah.
So on Saturday, the October 7th, this past weekend, McDonald's made an offer to Rick and Morty fans the country over. Come to our restaurants and claim that amazing Szechaun sauce that Rick obsesses over. However, McDonald's was not prepared at all for the mobs demanding commemorative posters and sauce packets. Some said that at some places there were only 10 to 20 even available at all.
Okay, so couple thoughts on this.
Yes.
One,
Why would you go?
Why? Two, McDonald's should have known that there was going to be a big demand for this. Like, Rick and Morty is a super popular show.
Right.
Like,
clearly they totally missed the size of the fandom.
Fan base, right. Three, is there an argument? Because I saw some videos online of like Rick and Morty fans like just screaming and chanting at McDonald's, like demanding their Szechuan sauce.
Seriously?
Yeah, like being super douchebags. Here's my question.
Yeah.
Is there, at this point in time, a bigger douchebag fanboy group than Rick and Morty fans?
I wish I could say no. So it's funny.
I love the show.
I love the show too, and it's funny. I think some people sometimes miss even certain messages that they're throwing at people, like in the season finale. Even though, yes, obviously it wasn't the original finale, and they kind of forced it that way because they wanted to reduce it to 10 episodes from 14. There was some great stuff especially from Mr. Poopy Butthole at the end of it.
Yep.
About hey.
Go out and live your life.
Yeah, like instead of obsessing over Rick and Morty, you know, which was great, and the Pickle Rick fandom too is a really interesting. Like, I love quoting, like doing the Pickle Rick line every now and then, but I'm also very aware that the point of that episode was a very unhealthy thing.
Yeah,
and a mask for some major issues.
Yeah, and as a way to avoid his problems.
Right.
Yeah.
So like. It's funny because I have a group of friends who've just gotten into it, and that like this past weekend I was hanging out with them and we marathoned a ton of episodes, and it was so much fun watching them experience it. But I also saw other people sort of experiencing it that totally missed the point of it, and I was just like, but I don't want to be that preachy asshole
of like, you don't understand. Right? This is a reference.
Yes. But I was so happy to see, and some of them totally got it, and they're especially good friends of mine. Yeah,
it's a smart show, and it's not like you have to pay attention to it. You can't kind of watch Rick and Morty.
Well, I think though the tagline that they went into the season with, this being the smartest dumb show on TV, is so apt for it. Yeah. And what that attracts will be just because of how funny this show is on just a very basic level as well as how brilliant it is, and just how meta it is, and just how layered it is. All of that is going to attract some amazing fans and some awful fans. We saw it happen with Star Wars when a black stormtrooper popped into frame for a trailer, and there was a whole bunch of people wanting to boycott it.
Right,
right. I think that's the nature of popularity, that a fan base is always going to have its douchebags, and
there's
right
both
now,
ends of the spectrum.
Exactly, and it's going to have its pretentious fans, and you're going to have fans everywhere in between. And the nature of this right now is Rick and Morty is at a massive level of popularity right now, coming off of easily, well, I think without question its best season.
Yeah.
So, I think that's just the nature of what this is.
Yep. I think you're right.
So at New York Comic-Con, Marvel showed the first 20 minutes of the season 5 premiere of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., However, it still doesn't answer any questions about what the new season story is about, and it's continuing sort of the mystery of sort of the forward drive of what this season's like. Is this going to be the final season? How does this connect to sort of bigger things happening in the Marvel Universe, if it does at all? all we know is he's out on a spaceship. Coulson's out on a spaceship. We don't even know about the rest of the crew. I didn't watch or read specifically about those 20 minutes, but the review the spoiler-free review that I read said it doesn't really answer any questions about But
it's only the first 20 minutes. It's not even the first whole episode.
Right.
It's an hour-long show, so you got another 20 minutes at least of show to say, okay, here's where we're going.
Well, I think what's interesting, though, is, so we got teasers for Ghost Rider last year.
Yeah.
And we had a trailer that even revealed that Ghost Rider was going to be on it and everything. It's really interesting. I think it's fascinating that they're keeping this story so close to the vest. And I don't know if it's just the optimist in me that's hoping that this is pretty connected to Infinity War.
Right.
In a way where it's not going to, you're not going to have to see it to watch the movie.
Right.
But it will supplement it in an interesting way. I'm hoping in sort of the same way that they did for the first season and the way it connected to Winter Soldier.
I think so.
Yeah.
I definitely think so. I mean, I saw a bunch of pieces of commercial stuff, not commercial stuff, but like social media stuff from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on Facebook, and it was all like space themed kind of thing. Like it didn't give anything away, but it was just kind of reminding you of like, hey, we're in space. So, I mean, I think Sword is on the table. Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. Captain Marvel is on the table.
And
I think that makes a lot of sense.
That's actually where I'm really hoping, because I'm wondering, because, again, the other thing that's also being held sort of in mystery right now is what the subtitle for Avengers 4 is.
Right.
And who exactly is going to be in that movie, too. Right. Like, we know a good portion of the cast from Avengers 3 will return, but we don't know in what capacity, whether that's flashback or, resurrected or they were still alive.
Just continuing, yeah.
Right. We don't know what that means. So we don't know what even the stakes necessarily are for Avengers 3. But then also the reveal with Captain Marvel that the Kree and the Skrulls are going to be part of that story, and that's taking place in the 90s.
Right.
Has some interesting implications. Like, my hope is that they're sort of building that story, and that will come in and affect what happens in Avengers 4, because I don't remember the release order, but Captain Marvel is coming out after Avengers 4, or okay, so it probably won't affect that story.
Yeah, 3 and 4 are back to back.
Right, and then I imagine stuff will be set up in 4 for the rest of the universe moving
You'd
forward.
think so.
Well.
You would think so, but
right. Who knows?
If they do it right, they could just, and it's a wrap. Everything's new.
Right.
We're rebooting.
Well, Netflix is raising its prices for standard and premium plans. New members will start seeing the increased prices today, but current subscribers will be notified of the increase starting October 19th. Netflix last raised its prices in October of 2015 to add new features such as interactive content and the ability to download shows and movies for offline viewing. Subscribers' extra dollars each month will help prop up Netflix's ambitious plans for more very expensive original content. Netflix Chief Content Officer Ted Sarandos recently told Variety that the company plans to spend about $7 billion on original shows and movies next year.
That's it?
That's it.
7 million?
7 billion.
Oh, billion.
Yeah,
oh,
billion with a B. Sorry, congestion, buddy.
That sounds like 7 million. Shit. Like, are you kidding me?
No, that's like half an order of a series.
Right? I was like, that can't be that much.
Yeah.
No, I am more than happy to pay a little extra for the content that Netflix is putting out.
Yeah, and I'm totally on board too, and I'm on one of the top tier plans too that gets, I think, $2 extra on it because it's got the Ultra HD and it's got 4 screens just because I am sharing my account with some family. And I still even have my 1 DVD a month subscription still active.
2.
Oh, are you? Oh, look at you. Mm-hmm. Or 1 DVD out at a time, not a month.
I get 2 at a time.
Yeah. I don't need that much out at a time. Because I watch mostly streaming anyway.
I do too, but the kids.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
We get them for the kids.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing, especially though with the news of Netflix being in a really dangerous place financially.
Oh yeah, this is a gamble. Yeah. This is for sure a gamble.
I really hope they come out on the other end.
Good Lord, but I mean, like everything. I think there's only been I wasn't crazy about Peaky Blinders.
Yeah.
And I wasn't crazy about Sense8.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 shows that I've watched that have been original content that I wasn't like, wow, that was really good.
Yeah.
And actually, those shows were good.
Did you watch The Ranch? I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I've watched it.
Yeah,
I watched it with Jenny.
Yeah,
if you like that '70s show, it's that
fine.
on a ranch.
Yeah,
it's the same damn cast.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah,
it's a 3-camera sitcom.
Right.
If you're into 3-camera sitcoms and like that type of thing, it's well done. It's not my thing. It's not my favorite type of TV. Jenny likes it. She watches it.
And it seems like Netflix is doing a good job catering to a wide variety of tastes. I mean,
it's worth it to me just for the stand-ups.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I love whatever.
Have you started watching? I just started watching it last night. Was it Largemouth?
No.
With Nick Kroll and Adam. Is it Goldberg? Adam Goldberg, the guy who does the Goldbergs.
No, I have not.
Oh, it is hilarious.
Yeah.
Animation. Really funny.
Okay.
Really dirty.
I'll have to check that out.
Not safe at all for family.
Not even safe for work.
It's about kids going through puberty.
Okay.
And they have this puberty monster that gets them to masturbate. It's dirty as all get out. And
I think
hilarious.
I saw previews for it.
Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah.
I binged like 6 episodes last night. I was crying. I was laughing.
It was
so
that
hard.
Good?
Oh yeah, it's really good. Like that, I'm willing to pay for just for that. F is for family.
Yeah.
BoJack. BoJack is
yeah.
worth $100 a year for
BoJack,
me.
Voltron. The Marvel content.
Right.
I really like Troll Hunters.
Yeah, I gotta get back to that.
Yeah.
There's too much. We had the music one.
The Get Down.
The Get Down.
Yeah.
I mean, no, they're not continuing that, but
it
that
was still
that was amazing television.
Well, just as Luke Cage is dispatching Misty Knight to Iron Fist's second season, the next season of Luke Cage is bringing in Iron Fist himself. Hopefully, there's going to be some hiring for heroes, though, while they're there together. But yeah, Iron Fist is going to be showing up on Luke Cage season 2.
Yay!
Hey, I'm all for it.
You're all for it because you love Heroes for Hire.
I do too, but I think though, again, I think the problem is, and I'm admittedly a huge fan of Luke Cage season 1. And definitely not a fan of Iron Fist season 1. But admittedly, as much as I like Luke Cage, he's a monolith. Like Captain America. Part of, I think, what made Captain America Winter Soldier an interesting movie, because his character doesn't really develop, doesn't really move to different places, are the characters around him that are affected by him. And Luke Cage is sort of in the same sort of category of characters that's very monolithic, that doesn't really change much, but stands up for certain values. So you need characters around him his supporting cast is so much more important for that. And I think Danny being part of that cast is what makes him stronger. And Iron Fist alone, Danny Rand, is also not a crazy strong character. And look, I love both of these characters, but them on their own don't work honestly as well until they work better when you bring them together. I think that's true in the comics, and I think it's going to be true on TV as well. And it's not to say that, again, I like these characters individually, but again, it's the moments that they're together, the chemistry and their contrast is what makes them really, really interesting characters. So in light of recent events, Marvel and Netflix have pulled their Punisher panel from New York Comic Con and canceled a preview screening of the first episode. And in fact, an exact release date for the series has yet to be announced. All we know is that it's supposed to be released by the end of this year. I know you're a huge Punisher fan. How do you feel about Punisher?
this? You got to be sensitive.
Yeah.
You have to be sensitive. If they had, this is going to be a violent, gun-focused show.
Yeah.
To air that on the weekend that the Las Vegas tragedy happened. That's just in poor taste. Like, that's just PR 101.
Yeah.
Like, I don't blame them at all for that. I'm super looking forward to this show. That being said.
Yeah.
I tend not to buy into the argument of, what we watch or play like somehow magically makes us go out and commit atrocities. Yeah. I think that there's a lot more deeper seated, more complex issues going on. However, I get it. Like, you do want to be sensitive.
Right.
So I'm super looking forward to this show. Especially based on just the little bit that we have seen.
So Marvel Comics revealed it had teamed with Northrop Grumman to create a custom comic book series, an announcement that was swiftly met with negative reaction from fans and professionals alike. In the wake of the controversy, Marvel canceled its planned New York Comic Con event promoting the series, and they issued the following statement. The activation with Northrop Grumman at New York Comic Con was meant to focus on aerospace technology and exploration in a positive way. However, as the spirit of that intent has not come across, we will not be proceeding with this partnership, including this weekend's event programming. Marvel and Northrop Grumman continue to be committed to elevating and introducing STEM to a broad audience. So this comic was sort of a team up with, like they came up with a superhero team sponsored by Northrop Grumman.
Okay.
Called NGEN, and I think it was going to be the Avengers teaming up with them. And this was going to be an all ages comic, so it wasn't like I don't even know if it would be 616 main continuity type of thing, but it doesn't really matter. It was definitely an all ages educational focus type of comic.
Oh, interesting.
So what are your thoughts about this, especially as a parent?
I think it's great. Like, I'm disappointed that it's not happening, to be honest with you. Like, science is really important. I think that's one of the cool things about it. I think it also, like, just thinking about Marvel teaming up with Northrop Grumman and then talking about, like, okay, well, what's happening with S.H.I.E.L.D. this season?
Yeah.
And, we're going to space. Like, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's a real opportunity for science in this country and for kids to get really interested into science and to see how things work. I mean, basically, that's what happened with Star Trek. Like, the reason that we have cell phones and a lot of the technology that we have is because a bunch of kids watched Star Trek back in the 60s and were like, oh, wow, I wonder if we could actually make that in our lifetime.
So here's the thing, because, again, like, I kind of am on the side. I'm a little disappointed that they reacted this way, and I get why the public reacted this way because of Northrop Grumman being, not just obviously they develop a lot of technology outside of, war technology and weapons technology, but essentially that's why people reacted that way, is because of their weapons tech and because of the profits they've made in,
So all of a sudden we want everybody to be Tony Stark.
Right. Well, I think it's a funny.
This is the irony of that. Right. It's really kind of amazing.
I thought that was so fascinating. I was like, but aren't you guys Iron Man fans? Like, isn't that something they even kind of talk about? Like the fact, like, well, some of the
money,
right?
Teaming up and doing this stuff. Like, I get it. I don't have this idealistic idea in my head that, like, somehow we're like, me buying a comic book or not buying a comic book is going to stop or start wars.
Right.
Like, I'm not that naive
to
think that my purchases are somehow affecting policy.
And I think whatever your thoughts on Northrop Grumman and their role sort of in sort of, the military industrial complex and all of that kind of stuff, this effort on its own is an effort to encourage, sort of the science, technology, engineering, and math education disciplines and make it something that is attractive to kids.
Yeah.
So,
but we're in a politically correct time, highly politicized society where we throw out the baby with the bathwater.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, it's funny. Like, I wonder what would happen if back in the day, Northrop Grumman teamed up with Star Trek. Like.
Well, back in the day, it wasn't the same political climate. It would have been fine.
Well, no, not necessarily, because you're dealing with, the 70s. You got Vietnam going on.
It wasn't the same as it is now. It was not the same as it is now. No, yes, it was a highly political time, but it was not the same time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You didn't have social media.
Yeah. Now, yes. The absence of social media is definitely a huge part of that. So, and the way people treat each other based on political identities right now.
Yep.
So, all right. So let's go over some of the TV and movies that have kind of come out recently. Inhumans episode 3. I got to check it out on Saturday. And
I watched it last night.
Yeah.
Desmond. He's my constant.
Right? Desmond from Lost.
Nice to see Desmond on a show. I'm not sure what his role is. Some sort of scientist-y type character.
But it looks like there might even be something kind of dark with him, too.
Maybe. We'll see. He's got some power, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I thought it was an improvement over the first 2 episodes for sure.
I felt that way too. I'm still not a fan of this series.
There's only one character I like.
Who?
Karnak.
You're talking about
The Asian guy.
dude.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
he's the only character I find interesting.
Well, you don't like Gorgon?
No. No.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah.
To me, you know what? I kept waiting.
He's
for
just
him.
the muscle.
He's just a muscle, but I kept waiting for him to say the apocalypse is getting canceled or something stupid like that. Like,
hey, that's a great line.
It's a great line, but he's like a poor man's version of that.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know.
To be fair, also that line comes from a guy with one of the best names ever, Stacker Pentecost.
True.
So you can accept those kind of lines from a guy with that kind of name.
I can.
And then there's Gorgon. That's the problem I have. His name is Gorgon. It feels like a really cheap, like some kids came up with the name.
Well, I mean Karnak.
Yeah, no.
Gorgon, Black Bolt, Medusa. She has red hair that moves. Medusa.
Yeah, no, but that's how I feel about the Inhumans in general.
Yeah, they're all really on the nose.
Yeah.
And fairly uninteresting.
Well, even Black Bolt isn't even on the nose.
No,
it's
it doesn't
just
even
weird.
make sense.
Yeah. But apparently his real name is like Blackagar Boltagon or something like that.
Ridiculous.
So that's why you call him Black Bolt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
The Inhumans are dumb. Let's just be
Except
honest.
for Lockjaw. I still love Lockjaw.
Lockjaw's kind of cool.
Yeah. I was a little disappointed though that apparently like that episode ended with again spoilers, but like him getting run over. I was like, where's this gonna lead? Like really, we
what
need to.
vet are you taking him to?
Yes. Like there's a lot of really odd decisions in this series. To go like, okay, well, that's our cliffhanger. You know, Lockjaw just got hit by a guy on a motorcycle.
An ATV.
Yes,
so stupid. Really stupid.
I also thought it was weird the Hawaiian soldiers ex-military that was like, yeah, we're gonna help because we're soldiers.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody has good motivations in this show so far, except for Karnak.
Yeah.
He's the only one that is interesting.
Because his power is really interesting, too. And him already being limited, like being blocked off from using his power, definitely makes him interesting. I actually want to like Black Bolt a little bit more. But the problem is he's such a hard character to connect with because he doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
And even with his emoting, he's not really getting a chance. Like if they
so limited. Yeah,
if they got a chance to let him emote a little bit more, it would help. Although I did kind of enjoy a little bit of his story with like the big Hawaiian dude.
The big Hawaiian guy. It was kind of fun. They're playing chess.
Yeah.
And he stops the cop to make the one last move. Yeah. That was a nice character piece. They've done like occasionally you get little moments like that where you're like, that's a nice touch.
Yeah.
But overall, the show so far has been extremely underwhelming.
So here's the thing. So I actually ended up rewatching episodes 1 and 2 going into this.
Okay.
The scenes with that chick who worked at, I guess, NASA, was that all in the IMAX version that we watched? It seemed like there were some additional scenes that weren't in the IMAX screening.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because it's
those
the chick
motherfuckers.
Yeah, so the chick that Medusa holds at gunpoint at the end.
Yeah.
There's a bunch. I swear that
she was not in the movie.
Okay.
Because I was like, oh, new character, interesting.
Okay, yeah. So
no,
I don't know if it's worth it.
Those two crappy episodes again.
Yeah, you kind of need to.
Oh God.
I don't know if you need to.
Dang it.
But yeah, if you want me to summarize it for you so you don't have to.
I'm not going to go back and watch this.
And this is a public service for our fans who don't want to go back and watch those.
Thank you.
Just for like 3 scenes. But she was the chick who's in charge of the project that was running the little rover that Gorgon steps on.
Okay.
And she's saying like I gotta tell the board that it's a hoof-like thing that stopped her, that crushed it.
Yeah.
And her supervisor's like, well, if you want to say that, I'm going to have to fire you. I'm not going to let you say something that crazy, but you're also the person who was in charge at the controls of this thing, so I'm going to fire you anyway. So basically, it's her. Yeah, so there were a couple scenes where she's like hacking up.
So dumb.
Essentially, yeah. But she also saw that there was like activity on scopes that's like when Lockjaw was teleporting them separately to Hawaii.
Okay.
So she's also aware of that. So she's trying to find out
what's going on in the room.
Yeah, exactly. So
okay, so that's why she's interested.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah,
because
so now you know why.
I was like, why is she at the prison? I don't understand why she's there.
And she's not a reporter.
Yeah, and she's from NASA.
But she's clearly trying to clear her name a little bit.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
So that's now you know why the blonde chick is doing
sense.
stuff
Okay.
right now.
All right, good for her. All
Yes.
right. That show sucks.
I know, but I was so annoyed that why would they
hold that out of the theatrical release? Like we paid a lot of money to see
2 episodes
95, of TV. 2 episodes of TV, 95% of the show, and you're going to make us watch it again on TV?
Right.
That's a dick move, Marvel.
Yeah, no, dick move, Marvel and IMAX. Like, why would you do that?
That's not necessary. Maybe, you know what, I wonder if...
Well, they need to push the ratings.
Well, they need to push it, but I also wonder if they put it in like afterwards. I think like they got feedback from people.
Yeah,
and they were like, "We kind of need to have some sort of like
human,
like
viewpoint into the characters."
Yeah, and they added that in.
Yeah,
because it still worked. Like I still watched episode 3.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, so
you don't miss out that.
Yeah, I was like, all right, cool. I don't really know who she is, but I never thought, I wonder who she is.
Right.
So I wonder if they put it in post.
Yeah, I think they had to have. So, well, I mean, I
think they had to have. I'm being generous and giving them an out, but as I'm doing it, I'm like, yeah, they didn't do that. They screwed us.
All right. So then, on the other end of TV, on Fox, we had the Gifted premiere. Matt Nix, showrunner for such as Burn Notice. And I can't think of anything else. The Good Guys, some other shows that I personally like. He is doing sort of the new not an X-Men show, but a Mutants show, for sure.
In that X-Men universe.
Right. Well, and we don't even know necessarily what X-Men universe, though.
No.
But we know
it definitely doesn't feel like Legion.
Right. But we do know that it is a universe in which the Brotherhood of Mutants existed and the X-Men have existed. And, we have, people like Amy Acker, who's on a lot of shows that we love.
I texted you when I started watching the show, and I was like, I think she's my favorite television actress right
I don't
now.
think I know she is.
She's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I loved her as Root on
Person of Interest.
Person of Interest. She was one of my favorite villains on Alias,
yeah.
Especially on the later seasons, which were not good seasons, but she did provide enough charisma that I wanted to keep on watching.
Yeah.
And she's been on a lot of bit parts.
Yeah.
She was on a very, very small bit part in season 1 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That was sort of a fun appearance as well. But but she's always been really good. I think she's often on a lot of Whedon projects.
She's great.
Yeah, she really is.
You talk about emoting. Like, she has this amazing way of being able to emote that is just so compelling to me.
Yeah,
like
she definitely inhabits each of her characters really well.
Yeah, she's gorgeous, which helps too.
Yes, that also helps too. But yeah, The Gifted was really good.
I loved it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next episode.
I am too. Like, was it? It's on in an hour.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's wrap this up.
Yeah, I like this approach. It's still a lot of the similar mutant issues as far as being hunted down by the government. I
love the new Sentinels. What do you think?
I like the Sentinel. I like the new Sentinels are interesting. I'm actually a little bit more interested in sort of how the organization works, because it's a really interesting dynamic, because the main character, like the father of some of our main characters, is a lawyer, and sort of the way they work with the Sentinel program.
Right.
Like, this universe is really, like, already has the feeling of being lived in. It doesn't feel like they just wrote certain things, but there's already, like, it has, like, in the way that A New Hope does a really great job of world building, this feels like it did a really good job of world building and still introducing the characters at the same time, being really efficient with that and endearing you to the characters.
You know what it felt like to me, and it's not just because Amy Acker was in it, but it had a lot of the same themes as Person of Interest.
Yes.
Of, like, Big Brother watching you, government control, and, spy network, watching every single thing we do.
Right.
I think it's going to be a really great show, kind of commenting on the times that we live in.
I think so too.
And kind of updating that X-Men mythos.
And I like our set of refugee underground mutants as well.
Yeah.
They definitely did a good job of it. The budget looks appropriate
Great. It
for
looks
it.
better than it does on S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, it does. And I like the characters. I like Polaris already. I like Blink already.
Warpath.
Warpath, and is it Sunfire or Sunspot? I'm not sure which one this is. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they've done a great job already with character building and universe building. So I'm excited to see where this first season goes and beyond, for sure.
Yep.
So then we have also the big piece of news. So we got a Star Wars trailer coming on very, very soon, within hours of this moment of recording it. And we're going to come back to you probably after it airs. But we are figuring out whether or not we're going to watch it. Because a big piece of news came out. Rian Johnson tweeted out that while the trailer looks really cool, if you want to walk in completely spoiler-free, you should avoid this trailer. And that really has me bummed right now because I really want to watch this trailer.
So I'm with you. I'm with you on this because I messaged you because I saw the article and I was like, I just felt the energy because I was like, tonight's the night. No. So here's my thoughts. Okay, like if you just think of this from a psychology standpoint.
Yeah.
If you want somebody to do something or
tell
think about something, tell them not to.
I know, and that's what I feel Rian Johnson was doing to us.
I feel like this might be a really great, like a really subtle, sneaky marketing ploy.
Right?
Right? Like to get a bunch of nerds to watch football is not the easiest thing on the planet. So you go, guys, you really shouldn't watch this. I know it's football, but I know it's Star Wars. I know you don't want to, but don't do it. Don't do it. I'm telling you, it's amazing. It's amazing. Don't do it. Like, I feel like that might be part of it, but I am really a hater of spoilers.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Like, usually I don't care about spoilers. Like, usually I'm totally fine with it. You know, and it typically doesn't hurt my enjoyment of a movie. But here's the thing. We've had a couple recent movies. The one that I can call to attention is Kingsman
2.
And the big reveal of Comfort's character being alive did take a lot of emotional weight out of this movie. Now, here's the other perspective. Like, obviously, there's no way Rian Johnson's big reveal is going to be spoiled in this trailer. The big reveal isn't going to be spoiled. But clearly there are going to be elements to it. And I think Rian Johnson knows that us being, you know, the nature of Star Wars fans will be able to figure out.
Like, people have been debating who Snoke is.
Every single hour of every day since The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Or since the trailers came out with Snoke.
Yeah. I mean, it's just been crazy. The good news is we only have 2 months. So there's, you know, so the speculation will run rampant.
Yeah, but 2 months is a long time for me to avoid this trailer.
That's my biggest problem. That's my biggest problem. Even if I avoid the trailer, I'm guaranteed, like, by like November 15th, I'm just gonna be like, all right, what's on Facebook? Oh.
Or someone will have said something. There's no way you're gonna, by statute of limitations,
avoid spoilers.
Yeah, avoid any spoilers. But yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna watch it. I think I'm gonna watch it. Of course,
yeah. I knew you were gonna watch it. I mean, that wasn't a debate. I was like, really, you're not gonna not watch this because of spoilers.
But Kingsman was enough of a rationale. If we were much closer to this movie, and I felt I have enough emotional discipline, and the problem is that would have to be 2 days. Like, it'd have to be 2 days before the movie, and there's no way I'd have that. But even then, I don't know.
Yeah, we're talking about 2.5 months. Like. It's not going to happen.
I had a friend tell me, David told me that he's so bummed that Rebels is coming out on Mondays. Mm-hmm. He says he's so angry about it. He's going to have to wait till Saturday to watch it. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I know you go to bed early because you're a teacher, but like, you can't find 20 minutes to watch an episode of Star Wars? Like, first off, I don't believe in your emotional discipline to be able to stay that far away from Star Wars. But all it takes is your phone, a pair of earbuds, and a long dump to catch up.
Spoken like a true professional. Yeah,
Well, he was telling that there's like major testing going on the week.
Who cares?
Like, really?
Who cares? How's that my brother? That's not my problem. Yeah. That sounds like an excuse.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think he's just so angry he's had to wait this long, and he's just bitter.
No, I'm bitter that it's the last season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
really enjoyed this show.
I'm actually happy it's the last season only because I like a show ending on its own
wraps
terms.
up, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to whatever the announcement is of the next series and whenever that's going to be out. Hopefully next year, and hopefully we don't have to wait more than a year.
Right.
So.
Speaking of having to wait, I'm just going to throw this out because we didn't mention it. Game of Thrones
Did it get pushed back even further?
Mm-hmm. They're not going to stop filming until the summer of 2018.
So that's next summer. And they just started, I think they're about to start shooting in a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm. So we may start seeing episodes fall, winter, probably winter.
I have a feeling it's going to be 2019.
I have a feeling it's going to be 2019 as well.
Yeah. Well, all right. I mean, the good news is we're the positive spin for this
is that Star Wars is coming.
Star Wars is coming out. Trailer's coming out in a little bit. But the other thing is we do have a wealth of good TV right now.
Yeah.
And not just that, but we have access to like seasons of past TV in a way that we never had access before. So there is so much available to watch. So yes, I'm not happy that I'm going to have to wait to find out what happens next, but we'll wait. And
what's going to come first?
Here's
the final season of Game of Thrones or the final book of Game of Thrones?
Oh, come first?
Yeah.
Oh, final season of Game of Thrones. Not even a question.
You don't think Martin will ever finish that book?
I think I was about to say it's totally possible it may happen posthumously, but I think he'll finish it. I think he'll finish it, or he'll leave notes for someone to finish it.
Okay, but I don't think he'll live to 2019. Have you seen that guy?
No, I know he doesn't live healthily. But I will. Here's my thought, though. As much and it comes back to Rick and Morty, which we were talking about earlier in this episode. The quality of season 3 was totally worth the wait for season 3.
True.
And that says and that makes me even more excited and optimistic about the long wait we were having to go through for Westworld. And I think the same is true for Game of Thrones. If anything, I don't want them to rush the end of Game of Thrones and have some of the issues that we had this past season. And because I think there's the hope that they'll take some of that to heart and really work on, all right, let's make this season appropriate right on every level that we can possible in every way that we can prevent it. We need this is such a phenomenal show. We can't afford to have a lost type of ending.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think there's that expectation and that pressure. So with that pressure, I'd rather them take the time. Because again, I think Rick and Morty season 3 is like proof of like what happens when, let's take a little extra time and rework it. Even if they cut that season short and that means we didn't get Phoenix Person and we didn't get that extra Evil Morty episode or a true resolution to Clone Beth, it just means that we'll get better quality storytelling for the wait. So at least hopefully.
We'll see.
Yeah. So we'll come back to you guys after we watch the new Star Wars trailer and after we've bought tickets for our viewing of The Last Jedi. And we're back after watching the trailer. Obviously, there was no way we were never going to watch that trailer. But, man, it was spoilerific, wasn't it?
It really was. They were not kidding about spoilers.
Yeah. I thought so much for it being a marketing tactic.
You motherfuckers. It was an amazing trailer. It's an amazing trailer, but I am disappointed I watched it.
I think there's, you know what, though? There's plenty of speculation as far as how they arrived to those points.
Yeah,
so.
and what point in the movie are we? Yeah. Like, it's obviously not sequential.
Right. But, I mean, there are a couple things that, and I'm just going to throw up spoilers here again.
Trailer spoilers.
Yeah, it's part of the trailer, so it's not really that much. It's not that big of a spoiler at the end of the day. But if you want to avoid watching this trailer, if you want to avoid spoilers associated with that trailer, you need to stop listening now. Just know that there's some nerd shows coming up. You can check that out. But we're going to talk about those spoilers because they are such a big deal. So spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh my God, the
Obi-Wan's
Porgs!
Back!
The Porgs destroyed them all!
Fucking Porgs.
Oh, stop hating on the Porgs.
No, that one was pretty cool.
Yeah, come on.
That one was pretty cool. Let's see what they really are.
Yeah,
we'll
I don't expect them to do anything life-changing, but
I hope
it's
not.
the cool world building. Adding on to the cool creatures, the freaking foxes. The ice foxes
looked amazing.
So cool.
I want one.
I know, right?
That would be the coolest pet.
Yeah, it really would be.
An icebox.
And I hate the pun, but I can't hate it too much.
Coolest pet.
Yeah. All right, calm down. All right, let's move on. But then, so the big story moments. We see Luke is afraid of the amount of power that Rey has, and it almost seems like there's a pretty strong indication that she was at his school that burned down and was destroyed by Kylo Ren.
Oh, I didn't get that.
He said the last time I saw this power... I thought
that he was referring to Kylo.
Oh, I guess it's a possibility, too. I got the sense, just because of how important she seems to be part of everything, is that she was a pupil there. And also because Kylo Ren... And this isn't news, but what in the novelization of the movie of Force Awakens, he does pretty much say that he knows who she is. And... it's always kind of implied in Force Awakens that he knows something about Rey's background.
Right.
So
that would make sense that she was at the academy.
Right. A youngling at the academy.
And Luke just abandoned her, wiped her memory and abandoned her.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
dick move.
Right. Well, I mean, they've talked about a lot of the talk about this movie has been your heroes aren't necessarily who you think they are when you meet them. So there's definitely there's a lot of talk of who is Luke Skywalker. So it's going to be really interesting to see.
I'll tell you what I'm interested in. Who is Kylo Ren?
Who's Kylo Ren? But let's not forget Snoke, because we saw, again, big spoiler moment, Snoke and Rey are going to have a confrontation in this movie. Like, that's like episode 9 type of expectations. So there's some big stuff.
There's a lot going on in that trailer.
There's some really dark moments with Luke that could go down a path that I was maybe not thinking he'd go down. And if enough to a point where Rey is willing to accept help and mentorship and leadership from Kylo Ren, who offered to train her before too. So,
but yeah, so what's your wild speculation that happens in this movie, based on what you just saw?
I mean, I need a lot of time to process and think about it and work with it. But I get the sense that a lot of this is about sort of breaking out of the patterns that family and destiny have set people on, and that Kylo Ren and Rey are going to be key in breaking out of this eternal conflict that the galaxy has been, this kind of constant cycle of light versus dark. And you add it to the whole family drama type of thing. Like that's a whole, like, from a spiritual perspective or from a spiritual point of view, there's always the things about, the sins of the father revisiting, generation after generation. And that's always been kind of, it seems like that, I feel like that is a big part of who Kylo Ren and Luke are, and the way they're dealing with Anakin and Vader's mistakes, and this is the consequences of those mistakes, and maybe a bigger, so on sort of a smaller level, that of Anakin's impact on the galaxy, but then also this bigger cosmic force picture as well, that Snoke, I imagine, will be a bigger part of that. So I think Kylo Ren is trying to figure out who that is, because he's talking about wanting to break from his past. And to him, that means killing both of his parents, which was also an amazingly tense and spoiler-filled moment.
You even though he does it?
I mean, I would say no, because all indications were that Carrie Fisher would survive into the next movie. But who knows? I mean, it's if you decide to, let's say that was the change that they made that Colin Trevorrow was never able to really work with. I mean, that's a pretty big deal. It's also a really big moment to legitimize Kylo Ren as a villain, but it also says a lot about what is the state of this galaxy, what is so bad about the Republic and /Resistance as well. Is there something we're not looking at, the very since Star Wars is always painted very broadly in terms of, clearly the First Order is the bad guys, and clearly the Republic are the good guys, but are they going to gray it up a little bit on some of that is what I wonder.
I think they're going to do a role reversal.
You think the First Order will be the good guys in some way?
I think Kylo Ren is the good guy.
Yeah, I think so too. I've not necessarily seen this as necessarily a redemption arc that may happen with him, but that there was something more noble in his purpose, and maybe Luke has made bigger mistakes than we really think.
I think definitely. I think you're right. I think having Rey at the school and him not being afraid of her and she destroying everything.
Yeah.
And probably Kylo being seduced to quote unquote to the dark side by Snoke was a retaliation or just like a resistance to whatever. To Luke's failures, and that he gets tricked into following Snoke.
Right.
And I think that there's a possibility. This is just
rampant speculation.
Speculation on my part. What's going to end up happening is Luke refuses to train her again. She then goes to Snoke for training. Snoke and her have a confrontation. Kylo saves her. And they team up together versus Luke.
That is fascinating. Do you think there's any credibility to the Luke and Snoke are on the same side type of thing?
I don't think so. I think you need to have an overarching villain versus an overarching good guy.
I think so too,
especially in Star Wars.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I think there's still the idea of the cosmic force and the light versus the dark. And I think at the end of the day, I still think Luke is on the light side. But what that means is not necessarily what we've always associated it with. And I think if the gray Jedi is to be a thing, it kind of has to be that way. Is that just because it's the light, sometimes the rigidity of discipline or of that thought process doesn't allow for the passion side of the dark side, as well. So, I think I'm so excited for this movie.
It's gonna be a fun one.
It really is.
This is gonna be a fun one. I think this is gonna rival. I really think this is gonna rival Empire.
Yeah, I think so too.
In subverting people's expectations.
Yeah, I'm like I was. It's interesting because like I've been excited for this movie all year, but I never felt like the hype for Force Awakens was crazy just because we were getting Star Wars again.
Yeah. For
me, the hype for Rogue One was so high because of getting to see other people play in the Star Wars universe and doing something that wasn't the typical Star Wars movie. Yeah. And I had both of those expectations met for me with both Force Awakens and with Rogue One. Sort of Force Awakens being a good reboot to bring back Star Wars to what it should be. And Rogue One having a very interesting take on the Star Wars universe. Really excited to see how this one subverts sort of the bigger, grander story of the Star Wars universe. And I cannot wait. And I just realized I'm more excited than I thought I would be.
I'm giddy. We bought our tickets.
Yeah.
I'm giddy.
Yeah,
I'm giddy.
I need this. I mean, I'm glad we have like the good news, and actually, as we wrap up this episode, it does involve usually the section where I talk about what's coming up. But while I'm and I'm trying to bring up my dates of what's coming up
here,
which I can do real quick.
I got them right here, Addy.
You got them?
Yeah.
Sweet. So
Flash on CW.
Yep, that's Tuesday night. I think.
Same night, Legends of Tomorrow.
Woo! Legends of Tomorrow featuring Matt Ryan's Constantine.
Yes, that's exciting.
Cool. I don't know when he's coming in to play there. Mr. Robot on USA Network is returning on the 11th.
I'm excited about that. I love that show.
I need to start watching it. That's one that I'm a little bit behind on. Then we've got Arrow on the CW coming on the 12th, and I'm super excited about this one. See, this is the kind of stuff that's going to help me keep, bide time until Star Wars.
until Game of Thrones comes back.
But Voltron Season 4 is sort of that half season, really.
I'll probably be able to watch the final season of Game of Thrones with my son as an adult.
But the good thing is we do have Voltron Season 4.
Woo!
I watched a clip of it. I'm really excited for Voltron
jacked.
Season 4.
It looks amazing.
There's a lot of good stuff. There's plenty of good Netflix content I can go through and some stuff on Hulu. So that'll help by the time. We also got Thor Ragnarok in between all of that. We've got Justice League, which dropped a new trailer as well.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that.
No, we did not. Oh, let's leave it at this. Okay. Or you want to talk about the Justice League trailer?
No.
Because the Star Wars trailer was too cool.
So much better.
I like the short version. I like the Justice League trailer. I didn't love it, but, that's it. So.
All right, good talk.
Well, let us know what you think about the new Star Wars trailer. What is your speculation for what's going to happen in The Last Jedi? Were you able to watch the Star Wars trailer for that matter? Are you going to avoid it? Are you going to be just going to lock yourself in a bunker until Last Jedi comes out? Because this trailer is going to be in front of Thor Ragnarok. So, it's going to be tough to avoid it if you want to see any other nerd stuff along the way. So, let us know what you think about this. You can go to our website, interact with us. All our social media is on our website, certainpov.com, including Patreon is there if you want to be a part of this podcast. And all our podcast feeds are available there as well, certainpov.com. And until next week, stay scruffy, my Nerf herders.
Thanks for listening to Certain Point of View. Don't miss an episode. Just subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on iTunes. Head over to certainpov.com.